These are in listen-only mode.
Hello, my name is Bill Allen. I'd like to welcome you to the May edition of the ProKitchen free online training advanced level. I'm going to go over a few different topics to begin with. I'm going to start the meeting with walls simply because in my own customers that seems to be the questions and issues that I've been dealing the most with. I'm going to then go over issues on creating shapes, using user shapes, as well as importing your own tiles and images for tiles and countertops. Um, and then in a little more detail on placement and modification of countertops, how to use catalog settings to do multiple finishes and door styles for a design, such as you might do with an island. Also, how to place a cathedral ceiling, how to use the comments toolbar and put in notes for your client or installer, and then how to do some of the details with display settings so you can have the different views down here represent different things also in your elevations. And then finally, using solutions if we get that far, as well as using our measurement tools. At various points during the design, I will pause, and if you have any questions, I will encourage you to use the GoToMeeting tools to ask your questions. But beginning for now, we're going to start with walls. As many of you, I'm certain, know, you have multiple tools for creating walls. The solid line pencil creates a solid wall, where the dotted line creates an invisible wall for an island or peninsula. And then there are also the easy-to-use pre-shaped room templates. And with the template, you simply plug in the dimensions that you want and click OK, and the wall shows up on your floor plan. I found most people prefer to use the pencil, where you have greater flexibility. But as most of you probably know, you have to make sure that your walls go in a clockwise direction. So I'll start, just push up, and I get my length here. I can type in a dimension and another dimension, and just for fun, I'm going to put in something that I'm going to use later as a knee wall, and I'm going to put this at an angle, and I'll put the wall in at 40.5, but I am using a beta version, and I don't believe the height is working yet. Now that I've got that done, I'll do 0, enter, and here are my walls. Now, there are many different ways that we can edit the walls, beginning with left-clicking on a wall and getting the handles. I can left-click and hold it down and move it, or I find it easier to left-click and let go and move it, and just come up here and type in the dimension I want. I can, if I say I didn't want this wall at an angle, I could grab this and left click and let go and bring it on down, or just type in the angle I want, and now it's a U-shape. Say I wanted to move a middle wall, very simple, just simply move it. There's a lot of easy to use tools here. One nice feature on the moving walls is if you have a cabinet attached to a wall, and I'll just grab a cabinet line here, home crest, and I always go through the formalities of setting the global options just because nothing ever, there's fewer problems later if you do this to start. Just grabbing things here at random. I'm not really worried about what drawer hardware I have. Close my global options. Now I'll come in here and I'll just grab, say, a base 30, just for example. Drop it in on the door, on the wall, and now you'll see when I move the wall, the cabinet moves with it. So if you do have to move a wall, you do not need to reposition your cabinets later. Next, say you want to throw in a refrigerator. I'll grab my appliance here, refrigerator, and I'll do a side-by-side, grab one here with the dispenser, and I'll place it. And there's my fridge. Now, say I want this to be a certain size. Make that 69 and the rest make it 39 wide just for fun. Now I've got my fridge here. I'll put it 6 inches from the edge just because that's what I'm used to working with. Let's say you wanted to do a cutout. You wanted the fridge sitting back. Grab the fridge, drag, say I right click and I wanted the fridge back like this. Well, how am I going to do that with a wall? Right click, select the wall, and choose Wall, Extrude. Drop it in here, bring it back, bring it over, and now my wall is extruded to meet my fridge. And I could put this all the way back, or normally it doesn't press against the wall because you got the power cords there. Other things we can do with the walls. I can right click on the wall and I have the move option, the rotate, resize, extrude, add wall. Say you wanted to have a little pantry in the corner here. I could come over here and I'm on the wrong wall. Hold on, I'm going to undo this. Escape. I'm going to select a different wall. Because when you add a wall, you want to go counterclockwise. To get your placement zones where you want, I'll make this say 36. I'll type in the 36 there, hit enter, and start drawing it out. And I'll just make a little 36 again, and there's my wall. Now this is 36 on the inside. Let's say I wanted that to be 36 on the outside. I could grab this, click, and it's at a 86 and 270. I'll bring it in. So it's at 90. Now I've got maybe 32 if I wanted that on the outside, and I could zoom my picture in. And this is my trick for using the movement tool. The more you zoom it in, the more exact your dimensions. And not very scientific, but effective. Now I've got that at 36 on the outside, or if I wanted this at the 32 so that the dimension was to the inside, that's a little more close. But the add wall gets you adding interior walls. So I could right click on this and continue wall would allow me to draw it back in. So I type in 32 and 1/16 to make sure it went all the way. Oh, I didn't do it far enough. Just a second. Escape and bring it on up to the wall. Now I've created my wall. Or if I had a lot of things I wanted to do, grab a wall here and do continue. I could bring it out any way I want, down, across, whatever I needed to do. And there I've set all my walls. So add wall draws interior walls, continue brings you off of an open end. And at any time you want, you can take a wall and do extrude and drop in, say, a bay window out here. Well, that bay is not big enough, we'll say, so we'll move it. Now I've got a nice big window here. A lot of different options. I'm going to undo a lot of these because I don't need all these walls here, and I'm going to take this and rotate it back to my 135. Any questions on walls at this point? If anybody has a question, please type it into the GoToMeeting control panel. I'll give you a second here to assess what we're doing. Do we have any questions? Okay, no questions at this point. I'm going to move on to our user shapes. User shapes are free-form, easily created items that will be found in the Architectural Elements catalog. Now, if I go to Architectural Elements, you see I've got user shapes, doors, windows. Legacy windows are our old windows, wall cuts, ceiling, stairs, baseboard, and so on. I'm going to go through some of the things that are in our Architectural Elements catalog right now. Now, doors and windows are here, and they're also on the toolbar. So a shortcut to get to this Architectural Elements catalog, I could leave my catalog set here to the home crest, and I could come up here, click on Windows, and there's my user shapes. So let's say I wanted to put a bulkhead in beneath this wall. A lot of people would want to do that using a wall user shape because we're attaching it to the wall. The floor user shape gives you additional options because the wall user shapes are two-dimensional. The floor user shapes are three-dimensional. So I'll place this and I'll put it anywhere I want right here. And the first thing I'm going to do is right-click on it and select the attributes. Or I could double-click on it. That will take me straight here. This wall is 144 inches wide, so I'll make my user shape 144 inches wide. I'll make my bulkhead 14 inches deep and 7 inches high. And I can come over to texture and I can match the catalog so it's the same as my cabinetry. I can match the countertop. I can select something from my wood options, or I can select non-wood. So I come over here and I'm going to make this a stone. Let's try that again. Select non-wood, and I'm going to make this a stone bulkhead just because I think it looks cool. And I'll just grab some rubble stones, pick something here, OK, and OK. Now, the problem we have at this point is this is still a floor user shape. So I'm going to right-click and choose up-down. Instead of it being 0 inches off the bottom, I'm going to make it 0 inches off the top. And now I'll move it over into the corner. And I've got it where I want. We'll just do a quick little 3D here. And there is the bulkhead that I created. Another thing we can create with user shapes, I've once in a while had someone ask for a radius wall. Once again, I'll start here. I'll grab the user shape and go to a floor user shape, and I'll place it in here. And double click on it, and I'll give it my dimensions. First, I'm going to make this, I'll make it a big wall. I'll make it 144 again. And now my depth, it's a 4-inch wall, and my height is going to be 96. And now I've got my wall. How do I make it a radius wall? I will right-click on it and select Edit. I will right-click on the wall I want to radius into a radius end, and I'll bring it out. Now I'm going to make this pop out 36 inches. And I'm going to right click on this one, do the same, and I'm going to type in a negative 36 so that it matches. Then I like to click on this little guy here and stretch that so that it's square. Just think it looks a little sharper. And now I will reset my mouse from the edit mode, right click here, and rotate my user shape. That's about the right angle. Now I'll click and drag, put it where I want, and oh, I forgot to give it a texture. I'll use our same cobblestones. Oops, I did it again. Just a second, I'm clicking OK instead of select. There we go, select non-wood, come down to stone, cobblestones. That's not what I did. I did rubble stones. And OK, and OK. And now in our 3D, we'll see our radius wall. Let's go a step further. What else can we do with this? Let's say I've got a bathroom back here. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to right click, wall, and hold on. This one is what I want. I want to right click the wall and remove from group. And now I'll extend it on out. So it's say it was 144. I'll add it a little bit longer, make it a 240. And then I'll take this wall here and continue it. Whoops, I'm on the wrong wall. Just a second. I'm going to control, hold on, wall, 1, add to group, here. Now they're a group, and I think I should be able to continue wall. I'm doing it backwards. I'm going off. Here we go. Continue wall. And I'll bring down, say, a little bathroom here. This ought to be 96 5/8. So and bring it on in. And I didn't quite get that lined up, so I'm going to grab this and bring it into lineup. We eventually would throw a door in here. Let's say this is a bathroom. And I'm going to grab a bath fixture. I'll grab a shower. And not a shower, I want a shower module. There we go. And here, I don't want a wheelchair. Just a moment while the system loads the images. Here's the shower module. I'm just going to place this over in the corner here. And the shower module has no door. So, I'm going to pull it out and turn it there. I'll cancel here. How do I place a door here? Well, first I'm going to make sure I have the attributes right. This is 84 high and 45 wide. So, I'll go up to my user shapes again and create a floor user shape, and I'll place, and I'll drop it here, and we're going to make it 45 wide. I'll make it 1 inch thick, or ½ inch. Let's do 1, and I'll make it 84 high. And now I'm going to come over to my texture. Once again, I'm going to select non-wood. This time I'll hit select instead of OK. And I'm going to come down to my paint. And I'm going to choose a palette. I'll go blue. And I'll make it a little color there. OK. And I'll come to my transparency. Anywhere between 75 and 80 seems to work pretty good. Now I'll click OK. And here's my piece. And I'm going to bring it out. And I will. Now I've got it more or less positioned where I want, just on the wrong wall. So I'm going to turn my wall zones off and take my floor user shape and drag. Here. And it looks like it's a little wide, but it'll still work for our purposes. Now I'm going to right click on it again. Oops. And just check the up down, make sure it's bottom 0, top is 12, so that's 84. Now let's take a look at our 3D. And there's our shower module with that transparent door. Now, notice these walls are blocking our view. I've had a lot of users tell me they get frustrated with that. When you click this button here, it hides the invisible walls. So items that are on a wall disappear when the wall disappears as you rotate around. So you don't have to try to zoom through a wall to get the perspectives or transparencies that you need. Do we have any questions on user shapes? I'm going to give people a chance to ask questions now. Please use the GoToMeeting control panel board to answer your questions. And also just for fun, if anybody could, even if you don't have a question, it would be helpful to me right now for everyone to put a comment in if they can hear me or not, if I'm too loud, too soft, if I'm going too fast, or just say, here, I can hear you. I'd like to know if anybody can hear me, if the volume is working good. Okay. So I'll be waiting for some responses. Let me know if you can hear me. Should have done this at the very start. I hear from Larry, says you are good, so I'm coming through good with at least one person. I see one person has a hand raised. Holly. Do you have and I have a couple questions. People are saying volume is good. I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you everybody for your responses. So I apologize for going so long into the webinar without testing that. That could have been very frustrating. So thank you for your responses. And I presume then there are no questions at this point, so I'm going to move on to the next category, and that's going to be importing user collections. Let's say I wanted here's my cabinet here, and I'll just click on the countertop button to automatically import a countertop, and I'll automatically add a backsplash. Now I want to say custom edit this backsplash here, if I can find it. There's the backsplash. I could come down to attributes and do texture and do select non-wood. But before I do that, I'd have to have something here to select. So if I go to my settings, I have an option for image collections. And this is where you'd find your own image collections. Here I have, for example, some tiles. I am a University of Michigan fan, so I've got this. And that one is zoomed in too much, so I'll come back to my M logo. Let's say I want this for a backsplash on that counter, a tile of some sort. First, I can edit it. This tile is 19 by 19. I'm going to make it 6 inches by 6 inches. And apply. And now my tile is the size that I want. So I'll do OK and OK. And I'll come down to this backsplash. I'm going to select it, come to Attributes, and first I'll make it 6 inches high. And I'll come to my texture, select non-wood, select, and all the way at the bottom I'm going to find user collections. And here are my tiles, my M tile, OK, and OK. And we go to our 3D, and there's our tile. I can do the same thing with that countertop. All I need to do is go to my settings, image collections. Now you saw me do one that I'd already imported. I've got one countertop in here, Delirium. I'm going to click on my countertop folder and do add image. And in my ProKitchen Designs, I am very grateful to one of my customers who gave me, that is a countertop fabricator, that gave me her files of all of her countertops. So I could click on one of these, Golden Fantasy. That looks pretty cool, but it's got this little black line edge around it. So I'm going to select this, and that would be okay if it was a tile, but it's not, so I'm going to select Edit, and I'm going to crop it. So the left side I'm going to trim until that black line is gone. And I'll do the same thing on the bottom. And notice there's a little ghost line here. I think I'll do the same. It looks like 7 seems to be the magic number. So I'll drop the right and the top. Now I've cropped it so it looks a little nicer, just to be sure. I do the mirror so it looks more like a continuous pattern rather than a tile. And there I see I've got a little line in between the right and the left. So it's just one more and hold on, I'll do the right and left each a little more, and there it looks pretty good. Almost looks like a butterfly there. In preview will show me how this is going to look when I lay it out. So that looks good to me. I'll click OK. And now I've imported a new countertop. And since I had that countertop folder selected to begin with, it fell right in there. That's my Golden Fantasy. Now I go OK here, and I'll double click on this piece. And this is my countertop. Now I'm going to right click, go to the countertop, and go to the designer, or more easily this Harry Potter wand automatically brings up the countertop that I've auto-generated in the software. And I'll come to material, and I've got a tan granite, a blue laminate, my granite Delirium. I'm going to rename this Granite Delirium. Actually, I've got too many in here. So I'm going to take this, and I'll call it Granite. I'll rename it to my Golden Fantasy. And I'm going to come down here and select my new import. And then I'll come down here and give it a price, $49.50. Say this one is on sale this month at $43.50. I can set my attributes, thickness, whether my units are square feet or some other item, and I'll do apply. Now that I've done apply, it shows up here. I can click here, and it shows in the design. And while I'm in the countertop designer, I could add pieces here if I wanted this to extend out further, or another piece next to it. This is 32 by 25. I could do another piece here. I'll just make this 30 so it's not quite so big, and drop it in here. And now I've added a piece next to it. Of course, I could have taken this original piece and made it larger. I can take my corners and change them. First option is outer radius. Normally you don't want to have a sharp corner where there's a walkway, so you could just click on the corner and it will round it to whatever you have here. If you want a corner rounded, we know this is 32, so I could type in 16 and round that here and here, and I've rounded the end. Of course, that's not going to look appropriate in the design, but you see how it works. And you could do a bump in or a bump out. Say I wanted to have a little sink bump out. I could add this here. And now my countertop has a nice little bump out. I can put in a cutout. I can define my edge profile. This is a nice tool, and I'm going to do this using the waterfall, which is probably one of the lesser common, but the easiest to see in the design. And I click on an edge that I want to apply it to, and it's not letting me put it on the bump out. Okay. I haven't ever run into that before, but I am using a beta version. Backsplash would be the same material that I used in the that I have selected over here. So you could do a tile backsplash and make a add material, say tile backsplash, and then once I've added it, I will select. And I'm not a designer, so the items I select aren't going to be probably what you would ever show in one of your designs, but let's see if I can find something that might not be too hideous along with that countertop. Go do something lighter colored, just for fun. Okay, now I'll do my backsplash, add, and there it is. I can put in sinks or appliances through the countertop program if I want. I also have a bill of materials. Notice the countertop came in at $43.50 per square foot, total cost there. The outer radius corners came in at $50 because I have that here in my price list. This is a master price list, and anything you put here will stay here permanently. Now I'm not going to charge for that 3-inch radius, so I'd come over here to the design and just change it to 0. Same with the next. Now I may want to put in a price for my bump out. Let's say this angled segment should be, we'll just say $50. And I might even come down here. That's this angled segment. Outer, I could put in here $50, and it would show up for the next time I did a design. I could put in a price on my back here, my material. I did not put in a cost on the backsplash. We'll say this is $12 per square. This is a backsplash, so we'll do a lineal foot. So foot, apply, and click there. And now I come back over here to my bill of materials, and there that price has been brought in. Same price of my waterfall is $12 per lineal foot. My report gives you a very nice report that you can send to your fabricator. You can print it. You can save it as a PDF and email it. Or if you do your own fabrication, we have an application you can purchase to send it straight to a CNC machine. I usually change the preview, hold on, to oops, just a second. I got this a little too big. I usually change the template to the portrait setting so you can get the full bill of materials here in the preview. And then when you click on the preview, here's everything you need, everything that your fabricator will need to create the piece. And then the most important tab in the Countertop Designer application is the summary, because without this, everything you've done has just been an exercise. There's my countertop now. I select Place All, and now you see the new countertop. And we can look at it in 3D. And you will notice that the Countertop Designer overruled the tile, but my old tile had a 6-inch backsplash. So you can see that old one sitting above it. So now I would want to right-click here, come to one of my backsplashes, check my attributes, and this one is 4 inches, so that's the new one. I'll right-click again, and find backsplash number 2, and delete it, and now I'll have the one left that I want. I'm going to see what I've got over here just a second. Close out of that. And here's another design that is a very simple design. I'm going to throw in countertops on corners. I could use the Countertop Designer to fill in a corner, or if I had two countertops that were meeting in a corner and I wanted to fill it, I could just do something like this using the Edit tool and get my two different pieces to match up. Or if you put a filler in to the corner, then it will be good. But if you have two pieces that hold on, I'm jumping way ahead. I'm making no sense here. Just a second. Let's bring this back where it was, and let me throw in this dishwasher here, maybe a B18. I've got 23 3/4 inches, so I really want a 13 3/4 there, so I'll do a B15, and I'm going to drop it in here, and I'll double click, and I'm going to cheat and do it, just make it smaller, and then throw in, by the way, something new that we have, and I've got it turned off. I'm going to right click and turn on the display catalog tooltip. When I grab with the catalog tooltip, if I have a B36 here, when I click on it, it'll bring this up automatically. So I could have changed my dimensions here before placing it, or added modifications before placing it. So, but I'm not needing it for this one, but that's a new feature that we have. Now I've placed this. Now if I do my countertops, one button, I've got this funny gap here. So I've got a couple different options. First, I'm going to delete the countertop. Option number 1 would be to come to fillers, base fillers, we've added with many of our catalogs a new corner filler. So I could fill that corner. Okay, and now when I add the countertop, it fits perfect. If you don't want to do that, once again, I will delete the countertop, and I will delete the filler. And when I add the countertop this time, here I could right-click on the countertop, select Edit, and simply move this point back to the wall. And now my countertop is the way I want it. And reset my pointer. We'll see if this works. I believe now, if I do the countertop designer, it imported this the way I edited it. Now you can see I didn't get this exactly right because it's showing perhaps a little bit of an angle and separate pieces there. Actually, it looks pretty good. It's just because it is separate pieces, it's showing where one begins and the other ends. But that is one of the tools for the countertop designer. That's so when I use the countertop design, the edit tool, I can still import that into the through the countertop designer and make it part of the full program. Now, I've got a sink base here with a sink and a faucet. Well, first of all, before I move on, any questions in the countertop designer? Anybody have any questions? You can raise your hand, you can type in the questions, anything that someone would like to know about the countertops in greater detail that I have not yet shown. All right, well, just one moment and I will move on then. We've gone over walls and user shapes and importing user collections and placement and modification of countertops. I'm going to create an island. Delete these items here. And I've got a couple of little cabinets here, but let's say I want to put an island in, and I want it to have a different door style and finish from my base cabinets. My base cabinets here are, I'll define them, Heritage Arch, and to the Autumn. Not going to worry about door hardware for now. And now I want to do a different finish for my island. How do I do that? First you come to Settings and you come to Catalog Settings. Save current design, yes or no. I'm going to say yes, just for grins. And it brings up the catalogs. I believe these are the catalogs that I have loaded. And I would find my home crest here, and I would copy it. Now you're going to see as I go down, I believe I have a home crest 2 already and a home crest island, so I don't need to copy this. So I'm going to come back here and open up the design that we've been working on, which is actually my oops, that's not it. Let's try that again. Here we are. So I'm going to come over here to my home crest, and I'm going to find my home crest island. And now I'm going to draw these cabinets from the island, but before I do, I'll set my global options. This, for example, I'll do Cara Square. And by the way, if double-clicking isn't getting your items to set, you can also right-click. So I'm going to choose, I can't see the difference between silk and white. I'll do silk just for grins. And now I've got that all set. Now I can come over here and I'm going to, normally I would want to take, say, a construction line and draw it out here and place my cabinets up against the construction line. But I'm going to do something else first. Well, first of all, we'll delete this. I'm going to place a B30, B36 will work, out here. Try that again. Here we go. Confirm, multi-catalog. And here's my B36, and it's facing away. So it's actually, I want a 36-inch walkway between this countertop and this cabinet. So I'm going to come to measurements and do line to line, and I'm going to make sure I measure from the island cabinet to the countertop. And that's 50 and 3/16. Well, I do know I want 36 plus the 24, because I'm going to have another cabinet backed up to this, would be 60, and a 1-inch overhang for the countertop I've not yet placed would be 61. So I really want this dimension to be 61. Well, I could try to move this and play with that all day and not get it, or very easily I can right-click on the dimension, select the dimension, and choose Edit. And I'll just come over here and type in 61, and now my countertop is placed exactly where I want it. And I would do the same thing here. We'll see if it'll work to the wall. I'll do line to line from the countertop to the wall. In here I'm going to want 25 for the depth of the cabinet with the countertop, plus my 36 makes 61, plus the 1-inch overhang makes 62. So I'll right-click, dimension, edit, 62. Now I've got this first cabinet exactly where I want it. I'm going to temporarily turn my wall zones off. And now I'll grab my construction line, and I'm going to draw it from right here. Oh, it looks like I got pretty lucky. I lined it up pretty good. And I'll do 0 enter to get out, and I'm going to right-click on this construction line, and I'm going to make it 0 inches thick and a zone inside and out. And that's lined up pretty good. So I'm going to right-click. I'm going to grab this and move it. That's perfect. Now, if I move right-click again and turn my zones back on, I can grab this and move it back, and it's pretty close. I'm not going to worry about that right there. But I'd need to move this over again to be my my dimension, and edit and make that 62 again. And this one is a 1/4 inch too close, so I might want to take this whole construction line and move it, if I can. So I've got it at 61. There we go. I got lucky. Now I can place my other cabinets. I'll grab a double click on this. First I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to double click on my base here. Oh, I can't. Highlight my cabinet and double click on it, and it will automatically fill around the island. Oh, it went the wrong way, so I'll put it over here and put this one over here. And now I could one button, add my countertops, and just for grins, I'm going to take my measurement tool one last time and see if I was successful in my 36-inch walkway from countertop edge to countertop edge. Oh, I went from the cabinet, not the countertop, so I've got a 1-inch overhang. And yep, that went to the cabinet, not the countertop. So it looks like I did what I needed. That's from cabinet to cabinet, or countertop to cabinet. So let's take a look in 3D at how the island turned out with a different door style, so you can see that it did indeed provide a better door style, or a different door style. Now this is blocking my view. I can hide the invisible walls in there. Never had to keep the countertop before. That's a little... Oh, because there was no piece there. Okay, that's a little interesting. So this being done, close out of here, and that's using the catalog settings to create multiple door styles and finishes within a single design, and how to use the measurement tool to position something. Any of these, almost all of these items that I'm showing you, we have tutorials, by the way. If I click over here on the tutorials window button, it'll bring up our video tutorials, and all of these are somewhere in here, but you can spend a long time trying to find these. I hold the control key down, touch F, and type in, for example, dimension. And its dimensions combined doesn't sound like what I want, but I'll click the next and position by changing dimensions. Or here's how to use cathedral walls, user shapes. If I went up to the settings menu, I could find the catalog settings tutorial. In this, for example, if I were to open it, we would find a tutorial that's 2 minutes and 14 seconds long. Most of these are 2 to 9 minute tutorials. Next, I'm going to place a cathedral ceiling. This wall is 135 inches, and it extends out 144. So I want to put a cathedral wall top on top of that. That comes from our Architectural Elements catalog, which, if you remember, we can get to from the Windows because that's in the same catalog. And I'll come over here and I'll grab a ceiling trim. No, I don't want a ceiling trim. Hold on. Ceiling. I want a cathedral wall top. I find this easier to work with than a cathedral wall. And I'm going to place it right here. And it really doesn't matter where I place it because after I've got it, I'm going to open it up. And I'm going to make my wall depth is 4 inches. My wall width, my wall is 135. My ceiling length is 144. My offset centered would be 67.5. That works. I'll do 67.5. And I'm going to make my peak height 24 inches just for grins. And there it is. Now I move it and it's in the wall. How does it look in 3D? Well, we're looking up at it and it's white, so we don't see it very well. But if I click on my ceiling option, I can change my ceiling to a different texture. Okay. And there's my cathedral wall top. The only limitation to this is very difficult to place cabinets in this area. It can be done. In fact, I'll just for grins see if I can throw something up here. I'm going to take a cabinet that would normally never go there, but just because it will fit to show that it can. I'll take a wall cabinet, and I'll go just a 12-inch high and 12 by 12 cabinet here. Do this, and I'm going to place this right here on the wall. I'll center it to the wall. Then I'm going to go right click and go up down, and instead of being the top 12, I'll do the top a negative 24. And now if I click on the wall and go to the elevation view, now I have the wall selected. I'll click the elevation. Here's my wall with the cabinet above. Which brings me to another area, and I could have moved it here, selected it, gone up, down. I'm going to bring back, actually here, I'm going to open the design I had earlier that I'd opened by mistake. My past training with a completed kitchen here. And I'm going, you see all these notes here. I am going to go to my elevations, and you see I've labeled all of my walls separately. I've got fridge wall. Hold on, I'm going to close off the floor plan. Fridge wall, sink wall, fridge wall client, sink wall client. What's the difference? I'm going to close in here, and here. Let's say, first of all, if I right click and edit, I can give it a name. That's how I did this. But when I come to my sink wall, I put special finished ends, note to install, or Lazy Susan Maytag. Some of these things can be done through the comments menu. Add a comment, add a line, add a schematic line like you see right here running between the lights and around. But we have another tool for adding comments that I think is the best kept secret in our software, and very useful, and it's our comments toolbar. Now you see down here I have my comment. Click, drop it in, and I can type in any comment I want. Glass doors, I've got a pre-select comment. Select, OK, and now I'll move this over here a little bit, and I'll come down here, grab an arrow, draw it to point it to something, and obviously I don't have glass doors there, but if I did, this is how I do it, and I do the line, add arrow at the end, and there I've got my line. And I can make this line any color I want also, attributes. I can change the color, the style, the width, and I can choose whether this is showing on the sink wall or the sink wall client. I don't want this on the sink wall client. These are notes for the installer. And I'll come back over here, do the same thing with my notes here, put it on the sink wall only for the installer. So here I show my sink wall. The glass doors note is not showing. You also notice there's no dimensions. I can right click here, come to display settings. I went to measurements and unchecked everything. Layers, I came to appliances and made it do not display label. Same with my plumbing, same with my windows. So you've got a nice clean view for your customer. The next tool here, this schematic line, I drew in here. It's intended for people that want to show maybe where the electrical goes, you simply click on this button and you can draw however you like to your heart's content. When you're done, you can hit escape, click on this mouse button, hit the delete key, or double click. And I'm going to select that whole line and delete it. You can also put in shapes. Here there's multiple shapes. If you're going to do more than one, you want to select add multiple items first. Then you'd pick a shape. Say I'll go to my fridge wall. And I'll click on the shape here. And I didn't click multiple items first. I'll come back and click it. Try the same shape and click there and here. So you could, now that I'm done, I want to get rid of the crosshairs. Click on the mouse button. Then I can double click on the shape and type in whatever information I want. Say this is an Amana. I could change the font to fit the box, or I could change the box to fit the font. The applications and uses here are quite unlimited. Do I have any questions at this point regarding the I have two questions. Where did I go to find the comment toolbar? And hold on, that's the most recent question, and then we're in the comments. The comment toolbar is up here under View, Comment Toolbar. And someone asked earlier, would you use the corner filler to drop a countertop on a bathroom vanity that needs a dropped top? Not necessarily. If the I would not think so, but here I'm going to expose my ignorance. I'm not a designer, and I'm not certain how that if you have like a I'll come over to my plumbing and bath fixtures, and I thought I had a section of just vanities. Hold on. Well, the vanity is the cabinet, so come over here to my vanity cabinets. Whichever if I had an under counter drawers, I'm sorry to say I'm not really certain how I would apply. I'm ignorant, so a little bit later when we open this up for questions and everybody has the ability to chime into the audio. At that time, then, if you want me to, I can. You can tell me what you want me to drop in, and I can try to apply the issue, the item that you're asking about there, Sandra. Sorry I can't answer it now, but we'll try to come back to that during the open forum, which will be in the next 15-20 minutes probably. So we've gone over the putting in the comments toolbar and even the display settings on the elevations. But just like we have multiple views on the elevations, I'm going to close my elevations here. I can have multiple views on the floor plan. I have a master, a customer view. In my master, for example, I usually will right-click here, come to display settings, grab my base cabinets, and I'm told if I want to meet NKBA guidelines, I need to give these a dashed line. Okay. I'll one click. I don't think I see countertops there, so I'll add my countertops. Notice they came in red. It's just my preference. When you right-click and you grab the display settings, you have the option on all of your layers to choose whether or not You display the label with a dimension or with no dimension, or with a bill of materials, or to not display the label, or display the bill of materials with no label. You can choose the font you use and the font size for your labels. You can choose the color. This is the fill color. This is the outline color. And you can choose the thickness of the outline. You can come over to measurements and choose which measurements are going to show, what the line color is, what the line thickness is. You can come to the grid and choose what color you're going to use for the grid. I never touch this, but you can if you want. And then save load. You can, once you've set your display settings, you can save them to use for future designs, or if you've saved them in the past, you can load the settings that you've previously saved. So here, my customer view. We'll zoom to fit. You can see I've got everything with the bill of materials number. I could also go to my notes in my customer view and hold on, make it not show in the customer view. And this is something you'd want to do as you're placing the notes, because it's a lot less work to do it at the time of application rather than later. And I'll do the same thing with my schematic line. So you got a little more cleaner look. Here's a cabinets only view. Maybe your installer would like this. Now you're seeing I've got here my appliances, so I would right click and come to my display settings, come to appliances and uncheck them. Also come to my cathedral wall, perhaps, and uncheck it. I don't see any reason to undo the walls, but okay. And now it's without the appliances. It truly is a cabinet only view. Here's my master and color. You can set the colors. I could come in here, say, and go to my display settings and my plumbing I have is this color. I could do my appliances. They're white. Let's just have a little fun and make them, I don't think I've got this green in the design, so I'll do OK and OK. And now my appliances are another color. Countertops. I had somebody ask me to create a countertop only. This really isn't necessary if you have, since we have the countertop designer application, but people that are used to using, say, 2020 don't have that option. And here I'm going to take my line and attributes and take it out of the countertop. There we go. And here's my countertop. Oh, I need to get rid of this also. And once done, I could right-click and save all display settings, or load previously saved settings. So, a lot of options here. Any questions on using display settings? I see no new questions. Anybody have any questions at this point? Okay. I'm going to move on to my Solutions tool. I'll get a new screen here, and let's say I'll delete this and this. Let's say every time you sold a kitchen, or back up a second, I'm going to grab just for my own symmetry here, I'm going to grab a double hung window and place it on the wall. I have my wall zones off. It's not going to place. I'm going to cancel, right click, turn my wall zones on, and now this window will snap into the wall. And I want to center it on the wall. Aha! Not center where I want. This is 144 across here, so I'm going to make this 72 from the right. Now it's centered on this wall. Not quite. I'm just guessing here, but I'm going to say 70. Let me see. I'm going to eyeball it just because I'm getting fussy. Let's say I wanted to put a sink base under here. I'll come in here and grab an SB42. And I'm going to place this under the window. And I'm going to center it. Now I found, let's say from experience, every time I sell a sink base, I end up including a wastebasket. So I'm going to come down to Rev-A-Shelf and grab a waste container. And I'll do a pull out, and I'll use the double. And here's this nice looking white set. Select it, click Add, and pick the door I want it to go behind. Okay. I want to see what it looks like. I can use this to open or close the doors, or I can just left click and the doors open up, right click and rotate. There's my wastebasket. If I want this to, if I'm doing this for display only and it's not going in the bill of materials, I uncheck this box and it doesn't show in the bill of materials. If I am selling it but I'm not getting it, say, from Rev-A-Shelf, I could double click on Edit and change the price and description if I needed to. Got to be very careful if you do that, however, because this is going to show up on your order form, and Rev-A-Shelf usually shows up on the cabinet manufacturer's order form and not as a separate order. But I've added a wastebasket here. Let's say now I want to throw in a sink. Maybe you sell sinks and you've got one that is really popular. Or maybe you don't sell sinks and you're just content to use the same one for every kitchen sink base you sell. I'm going to grab this sink and I'm going to place it in here. And I intentionally am not centering it. I'm going to grab a faucet and, whoops, that's not a faucet. Here's my faucet. I like this KS F2, and I'll place this right here. Now, I'll cancel here. Why did I not center this? If I have this centered, and I right click on it, and I hit center, I don't have much sink base to click on. If I start with this out here, and I right click on it, select the center, and click on the sink base, I know I've selected it. And I'll grab the faucet, and I'll center this, and I can center this to anything. And now this is all centered. Let's say every time you sold a sink base 42, you were content to include the same sink and the same faucet, and you wanted that wastebasket in there. Well, I'm going to left click my mouse and drag it so that I'm touching the cabinet, the sink, and the faucet. They're all grouped together now. I can right click, come to selection, and do save to solution. And here I get to create my own SKU, say SB42 with plumbing and wastebasket, or WB, In a description, put in as much detail or as little detail as I want. I'll hit cancel because what is my solution? This little box is the solutions box where I can come over here and you'll see I've saved a sink base 42 and B15 with wastebasket under Fabulous Classic, a sink base 42 with plumbing under Homecrest, another sink base 42 with plumbing and wastebasket under Homecrest with a 39-inch 2-basin sink, KSF2 faucet, and double trash can. Gee, that's what we just put in here. I could have grabbed this as one item instead of doing all those separate tasks. And so on. It saves it per line, so I've got a couple different Fabulous. I've got a Homecrest with undermount sink, a Decora, and so on. Also, I have a couple sets of appliances. Appliances black, stainless appliances, white appliances. I might right-click here, go to Info, and I'm going to call this, I'm on Appliances Black. Let's change it and do Info and make it Appliances Stainless. And now they show up together, so I'll do the same thing with my white. Now, I'm getting ready to put my appliances in. Do I want white, stainless, or black? In this case, I'll take my stainless place, and I'll just hold on. I gotta something playing tricks on these. Stainless place. And it's giving me fits. It didn't like that. We'll try the black. There's my black appliances. And I could right-click, select Ungroup, and throw the dishwasher where I want it. Throw the range where I want it. I've already got my fridge in the design, and my microwave over the range. Now, you don't have to be specific into which appliances you choose. For example, my range here is 30 inches, and my microwave is 29 7/8. I could increase this to, 30, and it'll fit now. It'll match up. Center to the range. Whatever, before you group something, if you edit it, it will stay that way. You can also put things in. I have one customer who has a special agreement with a manufacturer for one particular cabinet. It's a standard, let's say, B15. Well, it's the same B15 that's in the catalog, but they have a different price. So they put the B15 into the solutions box. So when they pull it from there, it's got the price that they get. So that's using the solutions tool. Do I have any questions here? I see I've got 3 questions. Someone is not able to get the settings to save. That one might be, if it's not working for you, this is one of the most important and least used tools as far as I'm concerned in ProKitchen, and this is right here, the report a problem. We beg of you to, when you have any problem, to send this. You're going to get 2 responses from us. The first one is from our support, usually within 1 to 2 hours. Simply put in your product version, your product platform, the catalog you're using, the catalog version, and short and long descriptions, and then attach your design. Now, product version and catalog version. These are going to come from the help menu about ProKitchen, here's ProKitchen 7.0.18, and in my case, I'm using Homecrest, which I'm pretty certain is in here, 7.0.6. You're going to get two responses from us. The first response is going to be from our support department, usually within 1 to 2 hours. Their response is going to verify for you whether it's a user issue or a software issue. If it's a user issue, they might simply give you quick instructions, right-click instead of left-click to get this fixed. If it is a system issue, they'll report it to our developers, and if there's a way to work around the issue until it's fixed, they will give you the workaround instructions. The second response you're going to get from our developers is usually within 1 to 2 days, and it's instructions telling you that we've fixed the program. The next time you get a catalog update, it'll include your fix, and all you need to do is click on the Update Catalogs button to load the fix to your catalog, and at the same time, then delete the broken item and reinstall it into your design from the new catalog. And by the way, if you have created multiple catalogs, a Homecrest 2, and a Homecrest Island, and you get a Homecrest update, these will all be the same. These will all, when you do an update to your catalogs, it will update all of the catalogs associated with your base catalog that you made copies of. So you don't need to recreate these copies every time there's an update. And that is, I have a few more questions here, just a moment. On dimension settings, let me see what this question is. I'm sorry, Ricky, I just hit the wrong button, and I lost your dimension settings question. All I had was on dimension settings. You can do the, if you use the measurements line to line, or hold on, I'll come back and do a point to point. I can measure from here to there, and I've got that distance. I can right click the dimension and edit it, or if I come in here to display settings, I can edit the dimensions as they show in the size of them in the font. So for dimension settings would be to right click, go to display settings. You can also go to default settings. In here you can set permanent settings for what you want to use for example, do you want your wall cabinets to be top aligned or bottom aligned? Do you want your walls to be 4 inches or 4.5? Do you want your countertops to be 1.5 inches or 1.25 inches, whatever your particular needs may be? So at this time, I am going to, I got, all right, thank you, Ricky. At this time, I'm going to ask, I'm going to give people the cue. I'm sending you emails to everybody. We're all being unmuted, so you can now talk and ask questions if you have. I'm opening this up now for question and answer. Sanda, you're still here. You had an unanswered question. Do you want to give me an example of a vanity to put in that would apply to your situation?
That'd be great, thanks.
So I'm going to come to the Homecrest catalog, and I'm going to find a vanity cabinet. Now, would this apply to any particular vanity, or is it a specific type of vanity?
Well, I think it's kind of universal, but for their master bedroom, they're doing in a corner, they're using the adjoining walls in a corner space to do 42-inch vanities, one on each wall.
So they're doing a 42-inch here and a 42-inch there, and they've got an
Yes.
open, and they've got, I see, so I would take, say, a, I'll just grab anything here, 31 and a half, I don't know how deep it should be, but I'll just go a 42 here. Just delete these, give it a little more room, and I'm actually going to want to put this so that it's left 10. That doesn't look right. And a 42 here, and
Yes, and except they want, if you want to do a point-to-point line between the corners of those two cabinets,
yes,
they want 33 inches of space for a seating area for a makeup in that corner, for a makeup spot in that corner.
so we're
So
going to
you
have,
slide them farther apart and then make sure that there's 33 inches in between those two corner cabinets where the corners are coming.
I understand.
so I'll do a measurement point to point, and I'd right click here and do a, I don't think a diagonal is going to work as nice as I like, but we'll see what happens. No, it didn't. I was afraid of that.
There you go. That's close enough.
I try to do a recess.
So I'll bring in about 6 inches. It'd be about half of a box. There, close enough.
And in that corner section, they want the countertop dropped, so it's a seating area for her with a makeup vanity.
Oh, I see. So they're using a countertop material to create a seat.
Not the seat, but the countertop will be the same countertop that's used on both the tops of the vanities, except in this corner where the vanities are separated, it needs to be dropped down, not the same height.
Cleats.
Yeah, I know how to use cleats, but I'm saying how do I appropriately do it in ProKitchen for the
To make it
design?
look that way. What I would probably do is create a user shape,
Okay.
because when you apply the countertop, it's going to be at the wrong height.
Yeah.
It's going to be at the height of the cabinets. But you could come in here and create a user shape and place, and I'll just drop it in here. Just for grins, it wouldn't fill this whole space, would it? The user shape?
Yeah, it would fill, they want it to fill that whole space according to
Okay.
what they say. They might
So
change
then-
their mind later.
For user shape, edit. So I'm just going to bring it over here, and up here, and I probably would add a
Points, just add points.
yeah,
Okay.
right click, add a point here, and add a point here, and then bring this back something like this. And now I'm going to take my user shape, and I'm going to go up, down. How high do you want it? It's not going to be sitting on the floor, correct?
Right, like 29 inches or 30 inches.
So do 29.
Mhm.
And now I'll right click on it again and go to attributes, and I'm going to do texture, same as countertop.
Oh,
Okay.
great, okay.
And then I didn't select that over here, but I'd come over to my countertop here, 3D here, and select my, we'll go to that one I had in the user collections, this countertops, the Golden Fantasy, just for fun. Okay, and now I can also add countertops to these items, so I might then need to should have done that before I did this so I could edit it a little bit better. Bring this in so that the lines match up. Actually, it's a different height, so it wouldn't need to match up that, but and when I look at it in 3D, we're going to see hide my wall. Whoops, hold on. That countertop is... Oh, I did it from the ceiling instead of from the...
Yeah, but she
Or-
don't want that. She wants that on an angle.
About 29 from the floor. And then you could have had this... I created it as a square piece. You could have created it as an angular piece or however you wanted. I could have...
That's great. I appreciate it. I wanted to make sure I created
edit.
it correctly.
I could delete this point, and now I've got that angle out here. So is that... Anybody else have any questions or for me? I see if we got Gene or Larry or Wanda, Mitch, Andrea or Alicia. All right, well, if we have no more questions, I thank you for your attendance, and this will end today's online ProKitchen training advanced level. Thank you for attending, and have a good day and prosperous designing in 2014. Goodbye.